right, so today we're going to talk about midsegments. Midsegments are a line segment that joins the midpoint of two sides of a triangle. So how do I know that's a midpoint? What from this picture tells me it's a midpoint? Well, how do I know that's a midpoint?
Because that one's equal.
And how do you know they're equal?
Because
Right, exactly. We know this is a midpoint because these two pieces are equal, and we know these two pieces are equal from the tick marks. Okay? So if you connect this midpoint to this midpoint, that makes a midsegment. If you connect this midpoint to that midpoint, that makes a midsegment. If you connect that midpoint to that midpoint, also a midsegment. Okay? Now, a midsegment has two characteristics. Okay, so put two little stars on your notes. The first one is that the midsegment is parallel to its opposite side. So this midsegment is parallel to that side. This midsegment is parallel to this side. This midsegment is parallel to this side. That's the first characteristic. The midsegment is parallel to its opposite side. The second characteristic is that the midsegment is half the length of its parallel side. So this midsegment is half the length of this. This one is half the length of this. This one is half the length of this. Okay? So, like, if this is 8, how long is this whole side here? If that segment's 8, this is 16, right? Okay? If this, let me keep doing that. If this whole thing is, I don't know, 16.8, what's the length of this segment? 8.4. Good. Okay? See how that works? And since, what are all these 3 points called? What are these points called? Midpoints. Since they're midpoints, if this whole thing's 16, how much is this? 8. From here to there would be 8, and from there to there would also be 8. Good. Right? Same thing from here to here would be 8.4. Right? From there to there, also 8.4. Okay? All right. The first one is that they're parallel. The second one is that they're half the length of their parallel side. Okay? Those are the two characteristics. The midsegment is parallel to its opposite side, and it's half the length of its opposite side. All right? And then if you think about it, parallel-wise, okay, if there's a midpoint here and a midpoint right there, then that would make a midsegment. Okay? And these two lines here are parallel, right? And so if I draw another midsegment in here, so if I connect it to that midpoint, what do you call this red line? Well, it's a midsegment, but if this line is parallel to this line and this line's going through it, transversal, right? We call it a transversal. So that means, what can you tell me about these two angles? Right. Why are they the same? What are they called? What kind of angles are they? Right. Alternate interior angles. So they're the same. They're equal, right? The same way that this line is parallel to this line, right? These two lines are parallel. So that makes this a transversal. So this angle is equal to that angle. Does that make sense? So you got lots of alternate interior, same side interior going on there. All right. So why don't you take a second and see if you can find the measures of all the marked pieces. So that dot is on this segment here, this angle, or this segment here. Take a second and see if you can. All right. Gabby, how do you solve the first one? Right, 54 plus 54 equals 3n, or, yeah, or 2 times 54. Or, did anybody do it the other way? Did anybody do it a different way? What'd you say?
I did 54 equals 3n, and then I multiplied at the end. Like I multiplied after you got 3. You get 18 times 6.
2. So you did 54 equals 3n.
Divided by 3.
Yeah. You know what? That'll work as long as there's no, like, on this one, the next one it won't work because of the subtraction, but yeah, that'll work. Or, the other way I was thinking of is couldn't you multiply this one by 1/2? Couldn't you say 54 is equal to 3n times 1/2? And then solve from there. You could do either one because this is half the length of that. Okay? Or this one, this is half the length of that. So if you took that and divide by 1/2 or multiply by 1/2, you'd get that. So you get 108 equals 3n divided by 3, and you get 36 is equal to n. Okay? How about this one? How would you set that up?
You know that 1.5 is the large segment.
Mm-hmm.
Multiply that by 2. 15. Set that equal to 20.
Good. Okay, and just be real careful. If I gave you this problem tomorrow, how would you set that up? Sahara, how would you set that up? Yeah. So I didn't want to give the impression that you always just double the number, right? You double whatever the mid segment is, right? Good. All right. So
12 plus 7 plus 7 plus 12 plus 7 plus 7 plus